Pray for me. I wouldn't wear this purple for her. I wouldn't wear this frilly little dress. It's her own fault. She should put me in pants. Put me in pants, and that's all she got.
Robin Leach.
So I'd like to ask a question of all of you, which is easy, and it's an amplification of what you just talked about. And then I want to ask a tough question of Mary that relates to all the answers that they all give. So the first part of the question is the actual judging process that you all go through with these girls more difficult than you imagined it would be? Are you being deliberately hard on them? How do you deal with that in the actual judging process as one person looking at another person?
Who wants to go first?
We go down the line.
Okay, Katie.
Hi, Robin.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Good. You look wonderful.
Mrs.
Happy to see you here.
Mrs. America now.
For 2.5 years now. So, the judging process, I believe it was Damon that mentioned it just a moment ago. The judging process truly is perfected because the Miss America organization takes that so seriously. And they really have it down to a science. And so as far as our ability to judge and everything, I mean, it's always difficult looking at someone and saying on a scale from 1 to 10, how great are you with your talent? How great are you in swimsuit? I mean, I find it very difficult because I think all these girls are so spectacular and it would be so easy to give them all a perfect 10 because they deserve it. They've worked that hard and they represent that for me. But I think that as we are looking to crown the next Miss America, we are looking for the best of the best, the cream of the crop. And as we have been told and as we have come to realize that this judging process just works and that we need to trust the process.
Thanks, Katie. Mikhail.
I came in here and I'm not used to being judged. I mean, I'm used to being judged, not judging. So it was definitely a little bit different, but I really like it and I really respect all these girls so much and I'm so proud of them and I can't wait to be a part of this. It's such an honor.
Harder about that is when they get it right and hit it on the head, which I would have not got any of them right at 21, 22 years old. I can't go, yes, you did it right. I have to sit there with the stone face and go, much harder than I thought it would be.
Thanks, Dave. Mary.
Well, I have to say, really a turning point in my life was when I was in the Miss South Dakota pageant. And so I was a part of the Miss America process. The local pageant in Sioux Falls, the state pageant, and then on to Miss America in Atlantic City at that time. So I was at least familiar with the pageant structure. Now that said, coming in as a judge, when we had our orientation, I've got to admit I started to feel the pressure. It made me a bit nervous. And sitting there for the past 2.5 days as we have interviewing each one of these young women has not necessarily been easy for me. I'm trying to listen so carefully. First of all, we had our homework to do, but to listen carefully and evaluate, have they been tremendously rehearsed? Does it seem natural? They are all beautiful young women. They are all incredibly accomplished, as we have said, and wildly impressive. I mean, if this is a representation of tomorrow's America and the world, we're in great hands. But it is difficult because I think we all take the responsibility seriously. And finding that young woman who is well-rounded, well-balanced, and like I said, is the total package, weighs upon me personally, but I know she's there. I have no doubt. So as the competition goes along, you know, we've seen them all in two phases at this point. You know, that's how the package comes together. And we are working and sweating it out every night, as we learned last night.
Thanks, Mary. Sam?
I mean, first of all, you read their resumes and you're saying to yourself, how could this kid be 19 years old and have done this? I feel underaccomplished after reading them. But the interview process to me was fascinating because the 7 of us felt really a lot of pressure to put them on the spot. And I didn't think it would be that kind of interview, but I sort of put myself in their position and asked myself, could you take these kind of questions, 19, 20 years old? And I couldn't do it, there's no way. But to see them do it, besides their resumes, besides their beauty, they really are very accomplished, amazing women, all of them. I really have been impressed, and I'm having the time of my life, as difficult as it is.
Thank you, Bradley. Okay, Robin, your
So,
question for
so
Mary.
we've now framed the difficulty of this. Last year, we had a contestant here who dropped 140 pounds to take part in the pageant. This year, you have one contestant who's autistic. You have another contestant who suffers from Tourette's. And you have another contestant who faces a double mastectomy when the pageant or the reign is over. So here's the question. How do you put aside personal emotions and feelings about those kind of backgrounds that come to this, to be able to still judge in a way that that part of it either doesn't matter or in some way it does matter? How do you do that?
Robin, the question is difficult on the one hand, easy on the other hand, because you cited three dramatic examples: the Tourette's, the autism, and
Double mastectomy.
yes, the upcoming double mastectomy. We talked with each one of these young women in that 10-minute period about an awful lot of things, and they are not the only three young women who've overcome tremendous obstacles. Each in their own way is so admirable and has faced the odds that they're already winners in life with the struggles that they have gone through, whether it be racism in some cases, abuse, cyberbullying, you name it. These young women have a litany of things that they've overcome in their lives. So each one of them is capable of being an incredible role model, and already, in fact, is. So therefore, I'm not going to put more weight on one thing or the other. What I am looking at personally as a judge, and I think all 7 of us are, that is, how does she present herself now that we've done all the interviews, in swimsuit, in evening gown, in answering that quick question on stage, and in talent. So again, I go back to, it's really the full package. And each one is kind of an emotional decision. But again, 53 contestants, all of whom have faced challenges very successfully.
Next question.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
a follow-up question on what Katie said. Is it tougher being a contestant like you were, or a judge like you are now?
I kept saying that
And
yesterday. I said, I don't know.
Who are the two Katie stands?
I don't know what's more nerve-wracking, being judged or being the one that's judging. And I don't know that I have decided that just yet after going through the interview process and seeing one item on stage competition. I've enjoyed both sides. I thoroughly enjoyed being a contestant. Someone asked me yesterday if I was, which part I'm more nervous about as a contestant. And I said, I think it's a different kind of nerves, because when I was a contestant, I was so nervous about the anticipation, having to wait until it was your turn to take the stage. And as a judge, I just feel like I'm nervous all the time. But I have thoroughly enjoyed both aspects of it, and so grateful and so humbled by the opportunity to be able to do it.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, guys, right down the front.